Today's Business with Hopeton Morrison is sponsored by the Jamaica Stock Exchange on Fridays.
Today's question: how does a credit union go about listing deferred shares on the Jamaica Stock Exchange?
Today's Business with Hopeton Morrison. Real, conversational, factual.
Good morning. We started this discussion yesterday. We're looking at the listing of the Community and Workers of Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union Limited, listing deferred shares on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And I have in studio with me a bright young man who is also the lead attorney in the transaction, Mr. Dane Patterson. Welcome back, Dane.
Thank you, Dr. Morrison.
Yesterday we were talking about the experience working with the communities, the credit union. Anything you want to add before I ask you about the experience with the Jamaica Stock Exchange?
Well, the only thing I'd add is that JN Fund Managers, they had a role to play as well in that they acted as the listing agent.
Yes.
And Money Masters acted as arranger at one point in the transaction. So there were two finance houses. So we were not the only professionals who acted in the transaction.
No, whenever I use these technical terms, I'm going to ask you to break it down. So the listing agent and the arrangers. Explain those. The ninth grader to understand.
So in this transaction, the issuance of the instrument was done in 2018.
Yes.
At that point in time, Money Masters Limited acted as the arranger in that they brought the investors into the product, or
Excellent.
they introduced the product to the investors.
Excellent.
So they arranged it. Now, in 2020,
Yes.
Jane Fund Managers has stepped in, and they're acting as a listing broker because they have a dealer's license and they are a member of the stock exchange. So they're the persons who are facilitating the listing. And if persons want to trade, they will need to open a brokerage account with Jane Fund Managers.
Brilliant, Dean. Even the seventh grader will understand that now. What was your interaction with the Registrar of Cooperatives? Because, he would have to play a part in all of this.
Certainly he did. And one of the first things we had to do was to get him comfortable with the idea that once this instrument was listed, that is the deferred shares, which initially was placed with mostly members, but also Money Masters would have brought in some pension funds.
Yes.
And some other cooperatives. Now, we had to familiarize him and get him comfortable with the concept that persons other than members would be able to purchase this instrument once it's listed. Because once it becomes listed, members of the public who are not members may want to take a piece of the deferred shares or purchase a piece of deferred shares.
Let me ask you now. Is it possible that these shares could, value could rise or value could fall?
Well, not as much as ordinary shares, because in this instance, the shares, as I explained on yesterday's program, it has a fixed return in that it has a fixed coupon, and it does expire in 2013, or it's redeemed, it matures in 2013. Yes. Sorry, not 2013, 2023.
Right.
So at that point in time, the cooperative would be paying back the principal amount which was invested.
So there's a fixed return that these deferred shares will bring to the investor.
That's correct.
Okay, so it's not like equities now that might be moved with the volatility of when I say volatility now, as the markets go up and down, the investors' expected returns here,
yes.
You could say, are fixed.
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, let me ask, does this program, this particular activity, open up the space for more credit unions?
I think it does.
Yes.
I think they can realize significant benefits from listing deferred shares.
Yes.
It gives their investors who are invested in it liquidity.
Right.
So they're able to sell their shares before it matures. In addition to that, by listing on the stock exchange, it could, I think, bring additional prestige and marketing opportunities.
All right, then we're going to continue that next program, which is next week. So I just wanted to hold that point. My guest in studio this morning is Dane Patterson, associate of Patterson Mayer Hamilton. We've been talking about listing of credit unions' deferred shares on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. This has been today's business. I am Hopeton Morrison.
Today's Business with Hopeton Morrison is sponsored by the Jamaica Stock Exchange on Fridays. If you miss it, or you just want to hear it again, listen as a podcast on our website at KOOL97fm.com and click on Today's Business.